Mark Alfano here with Alf Davis, founder of Agape Healing International and now LoveHeals.tv. Welcome, Alf.
Hi, Mark.
So tell us, Love Heals.
Two short words, love heals, but it's the truth. Jesus Christ is the healer, and He is the God of love. And Agape Healing stands for love. It's the Greek word. And what I'm here to share with you and others is the power of Jesus Christ in the healing process.
Now you talk about hurt and overcoming hurt through healing. Where does this hurt come from, Alf?
Well, when we come into this world, we're like a blank sheet. And we start to experience things. And unfortunately, we live in a fallen world. And what we tend to experience, along with some good things, is a lot of negative things. Did you know that 77% of all language is negative? And so by definition, we're hearing negative things about ourselves. And we experience traumatic events. We have things that happen in our lives that become stored as memories in our soul, in our unconscious mind. And those words and those memories have power. And so really, the inner healing is needed to get at the root or the source of what the problem is.
Most people think that if they're hurting emotionally, that they can find a coping mechanism, a self-help method to help them. How do you respond to that?
Well, if you go down to the bookstore, you're going to find a self-help section, and it's all about helping yourself. But the truth is that you can't help yourself. You need a power that's bigger than yourself. That's why people go see a counselor. But really, the wonderful counselor is Jesus Christ. And when He brings His truth into a memory, that's what transforms souls and sets people free.
And is there a process involved in this?
Well, inner healing really relates to feelings. It starts with a negative feeling, and the Holy Spirit leads you back along that negative feeling to the root or the source or the origin of the problem. And it's not a very complex process. It doesn't take a lot of time, sometimes as little as 20 minutes, sometimes 2 hours. But that's a lot better than every week for 5 years.
So you've worked with many people already, and what have the results been from your efforts working in inner healing?
Well, the results are so exciting that I just want to tell the world about this process. You know, as a counselor, people will say, how can you spend 10 hours a day listening to people's negative problems? I said, I don't listen to their problems because Jesus comes and heals them, and they're telling me about this fantastic transformation, and it's so exciting. I want to go out and tell people what's going on. So it's actually energizing for me as a counselor.
Well, let's have a look at some of the testimonies.
My name is Rich, and through Christ-centered inner healing, Jesus has set me free of the panic attacks that I suffered for a number of years. During a business session, I completely had a panic attack. My hands shook, I trembled, a teacup I was holding just shook apart, and I was very, very embarrassed in front of just a number of people who I was trying to sell some software to. With ALF, we were able to go back to what had happened to me during grade 2. And I had asked my grade 2 teacher to let me read in front of the class. And as I stumbled over all of the words, the class laughed at me. And at that point, I made a vow, I'll never do that again. And through ALF, we broke that vow. We broke Satan's hold on me through that vow. And since that time, I have been able to speak freely in public. This actually is a testimony to that.
One of the testimonies I'd like to share with you today, which was very powerful and very moving for me, is a time when I was a little girl. I was about 9 years old, and my mom was going through hard times and had tried to end her life several times. And as I stepped down the laneway, I noticed that my mom's car wasn't there. My dad was in the driveway with one of the neighbors, and I went up to him and I said, "Where is Mom?" And he was annoyed with me. And the more he became annoyed with me, the more frightened I became. And in the memory of inviting Jesus into this place, Jesus came up behind my dad, and He very kindly put His hands on my dad's shoulders. And He looked at me, Jesus looked at me, and He said, "Penny, He doesn't hate you." And I started to weep, and I wept and I wept, and I kept saying over and over and over again, "He doesn't hate me, my dad doesn't hate me." It didn't change the fact that my dad wasn't behaving really well towards me, but it did help me to understand. It gave me a new perspective in terms of what was going on in my dad's mind.